What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the video. My name is Anbraxas. Today, I'm here with Ori.
And yeah, guys, so we're going to be going over a lot of the RBG comps and some of the stuff that you can expect to see in the new season, which I believe is called Tyrannical, right?
Yeah, the Tyrannical Gladiator season.
Yeah, so we're going to go over what you can see from them from an RBG perspective and what you will see again this patch. So let's get started.
So I think what we're going to do to start off, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about what's worked last season, because a lot of the things that did work last season are going to work in the new season, and then we'll be talking about maybe some of the new compositions you can see or put together yourself for the new season. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
So last season, the main comp that I ran with was Double Warlock, DK, Shadow Priest, Boomkin, and Mage, and those were our 6 DPS. We also ran with 3 healers, primarily Resto Druid, Resto Chamois, and Holy Paladin. The reason that we ran with these is because we felt Resto Druids had a really good spot in the RBG and they had a lot of AoE heals. Resto Chamois' Tremor's needed right now, especially since Dispel isn't instant and it's an 8-second cooldown. Tremor is one of the most amazing things in the game. And then a Holy Pally, of course, we just have freedoms and stuff. And then, of course, you would either run into a fast capping team, which usually had a Mistweaver Monk instead of a Druid, and a Druid Flight Carrier, or you had what I was talking about, and you had a Warrior.
Alright, and just for a quick rundown from my list, pretty similar. It was just a Prot Warrior Flag Carrier, the 3 heals, Holy Paladin, Resto Shaman, and Resto Druid, 6 DPS, Death Knight, Double Mage, Double Lock, and a Hunter, or Rogue. Anything could really fit in that slot, so that's what I was running, and those were pretty solid compositions, I think, in patch 5.0 and patch 5.1. As far as the fast cap teams were concerned, you would definitely see a lot of Double Lock, Double Mage for the intense burst at the beginning so they could get the first cap, kind of a demoralizing factor. Speaking of patch 5.1 and patch 5.2 compositions, I would like to talk briefly about why some were more successful than others. As far as the fast cap team, of course they brought the Double Mage and Double Lock for the high burst. Typically they go after the flag carrier early in the game before any stacks would go out, or they even picked up the flag, get the initial cap, demoralize the team, and that would pretty much be it for your team for the battleground. Once your team loses morale, there's really no catching back up from that. Other than that, the standard strategy would be to have the Prot Warrior either have a Arms set or a Fury set if you're me, but not a lot of people like running Fury. So you would have your Prot Warrior have a DPS set for Temple of Katmangu, Silver Shard Mines. We'll be getting into that in the strategy videos. But it basically came down to Death Knight scripting into rings, healers CCing other healers, and it was pretty much a good game.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, fast capping next patch is going to be completely different. They're nerfing the Guardian Druid's stacking capability, so I believe they're making it so that Tiger's Lust from monks can no longer affect druids. So I mean, if you watch some druids at flight carry, they would seriously start at Twin Peaks and they'd be halfway down the map before this other team even got out of the room. It was ridiculous. So I believe that the first talent, I believe it's 15% movement speed, and their 2-piece, which stacks speed as well, is no longer stacking, so it's going to be really good for other RBG teams that are going against a Feral Druid. Because that was one of the main things, is even though they're fairly squishy and they can die decently, their fast capability and their kiting ability was retarded, and that was one of the main reasons that my team absolutely hated going up against them. I mean, sometimes we even leave 2 DPS back just to try to kill them.
So, you know the basics about the patch 5.0 and patch 5.1 compositions. They still seem like they will be relatively viable. I still think you will see some Feral Druid flag carriers once in a blue moon. Prot Warrior's still going to be top dog, hands down. As far as healers, though, we might be seeing a little bit of a mix-up. Personally, from what I've seen on the PTR, I think in lower rated battlegrounds, you'll definitely see some Disc Priest coming back into action, possibly taking over the Resto Shaman slot. It'd be a risky move, but I do think they have a spot in lower rated battlegrounds. Ori, what do you think? Do you think they got a spot in the 2200 area?
I definitely do. Disc Priests, I think, will be fairly usable because they're still going to bring a lot of utility. Although, mainly in Cataclysm, the reason that we brought Disc Priests was for Mass Dispel. Now, it's a 15-second cooldown, but I still think it's going to be really good for Disc Priest because they are getting a healing buff. I mean, the main thing about them was tossing bubbles and mainly just healing as much as they could, but they're going to bring a lot of utility to the Rated Battleground. And I see them taking more of a Resto Druid kind of spot. Resto Chamois I still think is going to be needed for that Tremor Totem. It's just insane how much that Tremor Totem is worth it.
And not to mention if they also take the, what is that? It's like a free walking totem, basically freedom for everybody. That's also pretty nice.
Yeah, I believe it's called Spirit Walker or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Windwalk Totem. Windwalk Totem.
That's what it was. But as far as healers, Mistweaver Monks, I mean, they're great at single target heals. They do have some great AoE heals. I'm just not feeling them right now. I'm sure you could throw together a composition in patch 5.2 for them, but I just don't see them still making that huge comeback. However, Windwalker Monks, that's a different story. Windwalkers have gotten quite a few buffs. I do feel like they could be easily replaceable with rogues. They could be interchangeable parts of a Rated Battleground team. Now, that being said, I also feel like rogues are going to be making a huge comeback this patch.
They definitely will. I mean, the new ability Cloak and Dagger just allows them to move around so much. Unfortunately, it replaces Shadow Step, which it's kind of a win-loss because Shadow Step right now, you can Shadow Step back to your party, but the Cloak and Dagger is going to be amazing for rogues, I think. It's going to bring a lot of mobility back to your team, whereas now, I mean, 90% of your team is all casters, and you have a DK that's stacking full resilience and just globaling someone if they can, or gripping them back into a beam, whatever you have. But rogues, I can definitely see Mistweaver Monk, or Windwalker Monks a little bit, and Mistweaver Monks, I still think that they're going to be on par with those Disc Priests, and you can bring either Disc Priest or you can bring a Mistweaver Monk or Resto Druid, because Resto is getting a little bit of a nerf.
So I think that's about going to cover it for what we can see as far as being added to compositions in patch 5.2. Unfortunately, I'm seeing Arms Warriors maybe leaving the scene for patch 5.2. What are you thinking?
I definitely agree. I've never really liked the idea of bringing Arms Warrior to RBGs. If I'm ever in low-rated battlegrounds, I mean, literally that's all you have to do as a warrior is don't even worry about changing your gems if you're going to go prot. Just worry about changing your gems, not your enchants or anything, sorry. And you can tank like that. I mean, that's how I tanked, because you are still only going FC, maybe 3 out of the 9 or 3 out of the 7 maps, I believe. So I mean, for 50% of those games, you're going arms. The only thing about Arms Warriors is that they have to charge in order to engage, whereas something like a DK just death grips and brings them back, which is a little bit more of an offensive ability, I find, than charge.
One other thing before we do end this video I wanted to touch on was Brewmaster Monks. Have not seen a lot of them in Rated Battlegrounds. Not sure if it's just because people haven't been playing with them, or if there's just none to be had. What are your opinions on a Brewmaster flag carrier?
I haven't really seen all that many Brewmasters. I think I saw one at like 2k rating. We were in like a 5-minute queue, and that's what popped up for us, and it was kind of weird. They have a huge amount of mobility. Like, that roll is retarded. But the only problem with them is they're still kind of squishy. I mean, I just don't generally like leather workers or leather wearers. Plate wearers just seem so much more viable to me. I mean, you're taking less damage. I mean, they do have some great utility. I mean, they have Tiger's Lust, which gives them a huge sprint and freedom. They have roll. They have like all these other defensive abilities as well. But I just feel like they're just not on the same level as Prot Warriors or Guardian Druids. And I mean, that goes the same with Paladins. I mean, one of the major things about Paladins is bubble, but as an FC, it's not viable, because as soon as you bubble, you drop that flag. And that's one of their huge defensive cooldowns. I mean, it's one reason that Prot Warriors are so viable is because of wall, and Paladins just don't have that.
I completely agree, and we'll definitely be getting into that When we cover all of the flag carriers, we will be doing a video where we cover every flag carrier and give you the specific reasons why and why some are and are not good for flag carrying. Just to recap, old Rated Battleground teams from patch 5.0 and 5.1 still probably going to be viable in patch 5.2, but I do expect to see some Priest, some Rogue, maybe a little Windwalker mixed in. You could definitely see some interesting compositions, so keep those in mind, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for this video.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, just keep looking for these videos, guys. We're going to try to be pushing a little bit more during this week while we have it off from rated BGs, arenas, whatever. So just keep an eye out for them.
Alright, and don't forget, guys, 24-hour cooldown starts right now. Leave in the comments, what do you want to see next? This has been Anbraxas.
And Ori.
We'll catch you later.